what we would call nowadays is just autism spectrum disorder. Andrew currently attends a day program for adults with disabilities and causes verbal disruptions during lecture times as an attention-seeking behavior. Although Andrew loves to talk, he will talk your ear off. He does not have any friends. Literature suggests that adults with ASD long for social relationships and often experience loneliness, but that their social deficits may interfere with successful social engagement. It is my conclusion that if Andrew were to increase his social skills enough to make a friend, it would give him the opportunity to share his thoughts and therefore decrease his verbal outbursts and increase his quality of life. This is why I chose a study by Dr. Kogel, um, actually Dr. Robert Kogel and his wife, who are the inventors of PRT or pivotal response treatment, as well as Oshbach, Dieter, and Register. And the study is called Increasing Socialization in Adults with Asperger's Syndrome. The purpose of their study was to assess the effectiveness of structured social planning for college students with ASD around specific interests and to evaluate whether improvement in structured social activities would affect the participants' overall quality of life. They actually used three adults diagnosed with ASD, or more specifically Asperger's syndrome, by an outside agency, and then they validated it through, I guess, like an in-house type study where they looked at direct observations, peer reports, baseline videotaped interactions, and then the lack of reported social activities by the adults. The adults were chosen from a pool of 12 students who were receiving services through the university, and the three they chose were the three that were the most severe in regard to low level of social activity. Um, for the baseline, the effect of the structured social planning was evaluated using a multi-baseline across participants over a 33-week period. Baseline sessions were systematically staggered to 3, 4, and 5 weeks, and each participant session was conducted once per week for 60 minutes. The intervention sessions were conducted for 1 hour per week and consisted of assessment of social activities based on each student's interest. They would research community and university events to find appropriate outgoing clubs, like the clubs as far as, members, chess club, that kind of stuff, not drinking clubs, or activities based on the student's interests. They would help them with organizational skills so that the student could learn time management strategies and be able to remember to attend the event. And I guess one of the most important thing was engagement in weekly meetings to discuss the social event and ways to interact with others at these social events. Basically, the results were amazing. Each individual showed that the intervention not only helped with them being able to be more social, but it improved their overall quality of life. And the three participants were Matt, who it actually improved their GPA as well. Matt's GPA went from a 2.37 to a 2.83. And he went from being unemployed and not being able to really, be around people to hosting a radio station, which is pretty amazing. Greg went from a 3.3 GPA to a 4.0 GPA, being accepted into a doctoral program, having a girlfriend, having his own house, and becoming a tutor for SAT tests. And then John went from a 2.42 GPA to being a member of the university's triathlon team, becoming a mentor for other individuals, and increased his GPA to a 2.51 and actually accepted a job at the university. And so, I love this particular study, and how it shows that that basically socialization is learned. What does worry me though is if socialization is one of the core components to being diagnosed with autism. Many individuals with Asperger's aren't diagnosed until they're older or even adults, and so if they receive an intervention like this, I do wonder if they no longer show, like for instance, if you were to be diagnosed now and you've already had this intervention and you no longer show low levels of socialization or being able to communicate with people, if you no longer have that deficit, if it would affect your diagnosis of being diagnosed with Asperger's or ASD. Thank you.